David Heine, and today we're in The Hague. We're at the World Peace Conference, where people are coming from all over to seek solutions for peace. Some of it is ground roots, some of it is government with private citizens, but it's all about peace. Something in our time, the end of the millennium. This is the 100th anniversary of the very first peace conference, which took place right here in The Hague. So we're going to talk with people about peace and the consequences of war. What the inception of this is and a little about it.
It's the 100th anniversary of the first World Peace Congress, which was convened by the Queen of the Netherlands and the Tsar of Russia in 1899, right here in The Hague. And the United Nations was to have had its last World Summit on Peace in 1999, but unfortunately some countries disagreed, and so it was left to civil society to give peace the last word of the century. And we thought we would call a meeting 2.5 years ago. We never dreamed that governments would be banging on our doors asking to be heard, and that 6,000 people would come from over 100 countries in the world because people are fed up with fighting and they're desperate for peace.
And here on the edge of a war that's going on right now, what do you hope to achieve with this conference?
Several things. First, we hope to launch a number of actions. This is not a sitting and talking conference. This is an action-packed conference. And we're going to launch actions to start the elimination of the illegal trade in small arms, to abolish nuclear weapons, to ratify the International Criminal Court, to implement the Landmine Treaty, to start a campaign against poverty, which is a major cause of conflict, to introduce peace education to all schools in the world, because people need to learn peace. That's one thing. So it's action-packed. We're going to have a number of actions that come out of this Congress. And also, we're going to establish a new model for relationships. We're going to have the table set with government representatives at it, international organization representatives at it, and civil society at it, because we believe that alone governments can't solve the problems of the world, and people need governments to help us. So we're going to sit together at a level playing field as partners to resolve some of these issues and to think of new ways of living and new ways of doing and new ways of thinking. We have a dream, and when you dream alone, it's just a dream, but when you dream together, it becomes reality.
Cora, thank you very much for being with us today.
That's quick. Okay.
It's an honor that you're here today. What do you hope to accomplish here at the Peace Conference?
Pa odnosno ovih dana se održava ova konferencija za mir, Haška konferencija za mir, i mi smo došli da čujemo šta očekuju mnogi od 6.000 učesnika, šta očekuju u vremenu koje je pred nama u miru. S jedne strane i s druge strane da i mi učestvujemo u tim razgovorima kako bismo došli do novih ideja kako dalje ići u Bosni i Hercegovini na putu mira.
We find it very important peace conference here in Den Haag, and we came here to hear what are the other 6,000 of people that are here. What are they thinking about our way to peace and world peace in the future, and maybe also to hear some ideas to help to build peace in Bosnia.
Now, no country in recent times has been more affected than Bosnia with the European wars, and I'm not sure. Is there a peace in Bosnia now?
Danas je u Bosni mir koji je potpisan Dejtonskim sporazumom. Međutim, on se mora pretvoriti u trajan mir, bolje rečeno mir koji će sami ljudi u Bosni držati kao nešto što je najdraže. Danas je taj mir prisutan, ali još uvijek uz prisustvo trupa SFOR-a, i ja se nadam da u vremenu koje je pred nama da će taj mir polako prelaziti u vlasništvo građana.
There is a peace in Bosnia today, which is signed with the Dayton Agreement, but we hope that the people of Bosnia will make this peace of themselves So you know that there are international troops in Bosnia, SFOR. So we hope that in the near future will be possible to have that peace without military.
Well, in the light of today's Kosovo experience, do you see parallels between Kosovo and what happened in Bosnia? And should we be fearful of something escalating here, or how do you see Kosovo from Bosnia?
Kosovska kriza objektivno danas možemo reći da ne utiče znatno na mir u Bosni i Hercegovini, osim onoga što je veliki broj izbjeglica i raseljenih lica izbjeglica sa Kosova danas prisutno u Bosni.
The Kosovo crisis doesn't affect situation in Bosnia very much, objectively, but there is also important to say that there are a lot of refugees from Kosovo in Bosnia now.
Ali je činjenica da danas događanja na Kosovu su izuzetno bitna za ukupnost mira na Balkanu i ja se nadam da će građani u Jugoslaviji shvatiti da je ovo što se dešava posljedica Miloševićeve politike i da je faktički rješenje u njihovim rukama.
But of course the situation in Kosovo is very important for the peace on a whole Balkan, and I hope that the citizens also of Yugoslavia will understand that the politics of Milošević is making the whole Balkan again unstable.
And so do you feel that there is a chance for peace in Kosovo in the near future?
Da li mislite da postoji šansa za mir na Kosovu?
Apsolutno. Ja se nadam da, ja bih rekao, rasplet u Srbiji polako dolazi i da ćemo relativno brzo moći razgovarati o ukupnosti mira na Balkanu.
Absolutely, I see and I think that the solution will come very soon, and then it will be possible to talk about peace on a whole Balkan.
Ali ponavljam da je dolazak mira u rukama, ja bih rekao, građana u Srbiji, odnosno u Jugoslaviji, i da bi oni morali prije svega da taj mir osvoje i bolje rečeno da shvate da je problem u politici koju danas vodi.
But I will repeat that peace in Serbia, in Yugoslavia, is mostly in hands of the citizens of Serbia, and I hope that they will really see and understand that they have to do something on that, and that they have to change the politics that Milošević is running.
Now, Bosnia has been more or less occupied by peacekeepers over the last few years. Would you see this as a solution for Kosovo?
Pa ja mislim da će i na Kosovo vjerovatno doći mirovne snage i da će to biti, učeći se na greškama u Bosni i Hercegovini, da će biti to odluka koja će obezbediti dolazak tih snaga, će obezbediti brži povratak svih prognanih svojim kućama, što predstavlja jedan od osnovnih elemenata povratka povjerenja i stabilizacije mira.
I think that there will be peace troops in Kosovo, and I think also that they will learn from their mistakes in Bosnia, and that they will start immediately with the return of all the refugees in Kosovo, because that's one of the most important things for the peace building.
Well, Mayor, thank you very much for talking with us today, and I wish you all the luck with peace. I'm glad you're here at the conference, and I hope it brings you peace in the Balkans.
Thank you very much.
Hi, now we're with Kola, Raheem, who is from Nigeria, and you're here at the Peace Conference. What do you hope to achieve here at the Peace Conference for Nigeria?
Firstly, I hope to achieve many things by talking and meeting many people, discussing about the world, because I think the problem is not just for a continent, it's for the world. The world is sick as it is, and the problem is that when you have some people who are not able to eat, who have no houses, there is war. If, as we see, the Western countries are fine, they have built beautiful houses, things are fine, and you have others that are not fine, I think the West is guilty of war. It's not just bombing. The war that makes people not to get food to eat, the war that makes children not to go to school, is bigger than throwing bomb. The war in Kosovo, for example, is not just today that it happened. They have been neglected for years, the Albanians. When some people don't have food, the cries, the pains will enter into those who have food in abundance and are not giving. And one day, either those who are hungry, they start the war, or those who are overfed, they start the war. That is what we are seeing in the world. I'm here to contribute in my own little way to how we can help the poor countries, for the poor countries also to support the beautiful countries. See, there is no going back in this, our process. The new millennium is coming. We shouldn't enter it with bad minds. We have to relieve, we have to relieve each other of the pains we have. Because I think when you have things and you are selfish, you are guilty of war. War is not just shooting. When I don't have food, you have too much food. Either I come to you, I rob you, or because you have too much food, you think you have too much, and you come and you even kill me. That is what is going on in the world. But I think by coming together like this, discussing the issues, I think we can work together. The world, in any case, is spiritually sick. It's not materially sick, but spiritually sick, and we have to cure the world.
Now, there's been some changes in Nigeria. It's always been said to be one of the richest countries that was underfed in the world. Have the changes had much effect in Nigeria?
Well, the changes which we are seeing now is positive, but so much bad has been done that for us to start seeing the effectiveness of the changes will take time. If we think of the Ogonis that have been killed, I think it will take time for the families left behind to start saying that, well, now we are able to say we are Nigerians. It will take time. You have many people in Nigeria who are still not able to eat. You have many people who have stolen the government money. They are arrogant with it. Those, they are going somehow to be punished because it's natural law. You cannot cheat people and go away just freely, see, no matter how rich you are. Nigeria is going through so many changes, and I think they are positive, and we hope we can sustain it. And of course, the world has to join hands together to sustain it, because if Nigeria will go into pieces, I think it will mean a lot of havoc for the whole world when we talk of peace.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us about Nigeria, and I wish you all the luck there.
Thank you very much.
Hello, now we're with Nelia Sancho from the Philippines, who is the head of the Asian Women Survivors Group. Nelia, could you tell us how this group came together and what the purpose of it is?
Well, we started in 1992. We pioneered the research on Filipino comfort women in the Philippines. And this research was also the inspiration brought about by hearing the first Korean comfort woman survivor, Kim Hak-sung, declare that she was a victim of sex slavery by the Japanese army. And our organization, the Asian Women Human Rights Council, supported her demand for accountability by the Japanese government in the form of legal reparations. And after that, we did our own research in the Philippines and was able to bring out some 200 comfort women survivors and rape victims. And since that time, from 1992 up to now, there has been 7 years work we have done with the survivors, and have joined the campaign for international redress for the Filipino, Taiwan, Korea, Chinese, and Dutch comfort women.
Now, the Japanese government has still refused to give a formal apology. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Well, the Japanese government position at the start, when the first survivor spoke in Korea was that of denying that the comfort women system was at all practiced. But because of the research done after that, and so many more survivors came to tell their stories to the world, and then after that, not only Korea but also the Philippines and Taiwan and China and Indonesia and Dutch comfort women. And finally, the Japanese government acknowledged. And however, they said that yes, we do acknowledge, but we do not agree to give the legal reparations. And in the case of the Philippines and Japan, for example, they have mentioned that the San Francisco Peace Treaty has given reparations to the Philippine government. But we have filed a suit at the Tokyo District Court for 46 Filipino comfort women plaintiffs and have made the argument that the victim still has the right to individual compensation. And despite the fact that there has been legal reparations paid by the Japanese government to the Philippine government through the San Francisco Peace Treaty. And this argument formed the legal basis using the Hague Convention of 1907, and as well as the other international human rights laws. And this has been supported by UN Special Rapporteurs on Violence Against Women, and the one on rape and sex slavery, Gay McDougall, where they have submitted a recommendation that the Japanese government is legally accountable and should make legal compensation to the victims. And but up to this day, the Japanese government still continue to refuse. And however, the international community has really supported the demand of the survivors that the Japanese government should make itself legally accountable. And we hope that they would follow the example of the German government, who has paid compensation to the victims of the Holocaust, and also to the American government that have paid compensation to the Japanese Americans whom they have accused of spying during the last World War and confined them to concentration camps. It's only the Japanese government up to this time which has not done so. And we are calling on them that this is now the time for them to make reparations because the victims are now in their age advanced years, and most of them have gotten sick. And the world already knows that there is rape and sex slavery through the comfort women system, and this has been made into a war crime according to the statute that was drafted in Rome last July, called the International Criminal Statute.
Now, these are certainly victims of war and the brutality of war itself. You're here at the Millennium Peace Conference in The Hague. You cited the 1907 Hague Conference, which took place right here. What do you hope to accomplish here at the Peace Conference?
Well, we hope that in this peace conference, the message actually is that it is what they call the civil society, the citizens' movements who are working for peace, such as the survivors of Lila Pilipina and survivors of the Taiwan and Korea comfort women, who are now at the forefront of this movement for redress, who are working for peace by making the Japanese government accountable for what has happened to them. They feel that through this, by redressing the war crime done on them, that governments would find it difficult, to commit this kind of crime again. And at the same time, calling this a war crime, we hope can create a consciousness among governments and armies, that they should desist from further violence against women in times of war. And at the same time that the call is also that wars should be avoided at all costs, and that violent conflicts should be transform into ways that are peaceful. And we should learn our lessons from the last century of 2 world wars and so many small conflicts going on in different countries. And the rape and sex slavery of women continue to happen. And this is now the time to learn from these lessons. And if governments do not make the move, then it should be the citizens' movements all over the world, and particularly women, who have a big role to play in creating a culture of peace. And I think the Comfort Women have shown by their example of speaking out about rape and sexual violence that a culture of peace can be promoted by making it a conscious reality that this horrifying experience should not be repeated and should not happen to the present and future generations of women and girls.
Unfortunately, it seems to be taking place even as we sit here in Kosovo and Bosnia. Do you have any words of comfort or advice to those women?
Well, one of the Filipino survivors has attended a conference last year, or in 1996, in Bosnia. And at that time, Bosnia has just come out from a violent civil war. And many of their women have become victims as well of rape and sex slavery. And our survivor has told them that I have to speak out. We have to speak out as victims of this sexual violence by the armies. We should speak out against them. We should pinpoint the perpetrators so that we don't make it easy for them to commit this crime again. And even as this is happening again in Kosovo, I think it is the role of citizens groups and of women, to dare to speak out against this violation that is happening to them. And we should bring the perpetrators to the courts, and we should make a government like Milosevic accountable for the atrocities that's being done by the army. And at the same time, we say that the bombings that is being done, which has now also included many innocent victims, as the targets, should be stopped. There is no sense in continuing a violent ways of resolving conflicts. It only redounds to more violence. And I feel that there are many citizens groups that are showing the way to peace, and that we should not let the governments who think about war, who think about violent ways of confrontation as the rule. I think we have to show, and through the media show, that the citizens themselves want these wars to be stopped, want these bombings to stop. And we hope that that will become the dominant voice, the dominant discourse.
Well, thank you very much for talking with us, and I wish you the best with your campaign. Often as the silent victim.
72 years old.
Thank you very much. Now, you too have suffered as a comfort woman. You were very young when this happened. And what made you come forward to tell your story?
Bakit ka daw lumabas para sabihin mo nangyari sa'yo?
Noong panahon ng ikalawang digmaan pandaigdig, edad ko lamang noon 14 years old. Kaya kami lumabas sa Comfort Woman dahil gusto naming ipaglaban ang karapatan ang nangyari sa amin.
I want to fight for justice. I want to claim for redress for what has happened to me. And that's the reason I spoke out.
Now you've come to the peace conference here. Do you have a special message for the world about what happened to you and what seems to be happening now?
Mensahe sa pagpunta mo dito sa konferensya, ano gusto mong sabihin?
Una sa lahat, nandito kami sa Head Appeal for Peace upang makiisa sa layunin pangkapayapaan.
First of all, I joined the Hague Appeal for Peace in order to be in solidarity with all the participants who are urging for world peace.
We are now having another war not far from here in the Balkans. Similar atrocities are taking place every day. Do you have any message for the women that might give them hope?
Meron daw nangyayari ngayong giyera sa kasalukuyan sa Balkans, dyan sa Yugoslavia. Ano daw mensahe mo?
Nananawagan ako sa lahat ng gobyerno na magbigay ng kapayapaan sa lahat na naging biktima niya. Dahil ayaw na namin ang giyera, sapagkat ang giyera ay nakakapinsala sa mga kababaihan, lalo na sa kabataan.
I would like to call on the governments to desist from further violence of their armies to ordinary people, and particularly the act of raping the women. This is a time that we should all bring into our hearts that there are ways to resolve conflicts in peaceful manner.
Well, thank you very much.